reason why people don't choose to do the responsible thing is because it's not easy.
Right.
And we've always talked about this. We're very naturally inclined to avoid pain, to avoid discomfort. And so if we know going in that the responsible thing to do is not easy, people will just refuse to do the responsible thing. Then what happens in society and individually when that happens, Brittany?
Oh, you're lazy, you're terrible, you're a horrible person. And it just becomes a cycle.
And does that change their mind at all? Does that convince those people who already didn't want to do the hard thing, already didn't want to take responsibility? Does having all those insults thrown at them make them want to? So it's kind of funny that it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that people label you those things. Then they say all these things to you. You really weren't motivated to do the responsible thing anyway, and now all the more you don't, and so you're labeled that in life. And it's like, that might not be a you at all. Whereas if somebody said, I know it's hard, but let me tell you, I've been through that. I have survived that. I did the responsible thing despite it being difficult and despite it not being very easy. But now look at what the benefits I got for doing that responsible thing. I think that would then convince people. And then look, maybe they go and become something in this world that we all benefit from.
I feel like I had the unique opportunity to be around people who avoided the responsible thing. And I saw what happened when you avoid doing the responsible thing.
Yes.
When you avoided setting boundaries, when you avoid saying no to people that you really need to say no to, when you avoid having controversial opinions because it might upset somebody. I watched everybody, and I'm an observant person. It's kind of why I like personal development. Like, I've just watched the people in my life, and I would say that I had that unique opportunity to see what plays out afterwards. And I didn't want that to happen to me. So I tried to do the opposite thing. Have I always succeeded at it? No, of course not. I'm a human being. I haven't always succeeded. But the more I move through life, the more I realize that's it. Like, I want to do the responsible thing, even if it is unbelievably hard, because in the moment it's hard. In the short term it's hard, but in the long term, the benefits that pay, the dividends that pay from being responsible are magnificent. They're so big. And so the pain, as hard as it is to frame it this way, the pain becomes worth it because of the end game.
I think about David Goggins in this realm. Like, dude, he knew he put himself through the ringer trying to do the right thing on purpose. Exactly. He purposely did that just so he could say, you know what? I'm going to prove to myself the strength that I have within. And it's something I often tell people in my own work now is do the hard things, do the responsible things, even though they're not easy, because at the other side of it, you're going to be so appreciative of the lessons you learned because of the hard. You're not going to take for granted that doing the right thing is always going to be this easy ride. You're going to have a more fulfilled life because of the challenge of doing the responsible thing. The challenge is the benefit that you get out of it.
Yes. And it builds resistance just as if you were exercising. Yeah. And so doing the responsible thing, each time you may level up and have to do something a little bit harder, but eventually it just becomes easy. Me setting boundaries with people when I very first started, very hard. It was a very hard thing to do for me to start telling people no and setting boundaries of no, I won't be there, no, I won't do that, or no, I can't do that, or just saying no. That was extremely hard for me in the beginning. But now, no, I would give you a boundary in a second. I don't even think about it because I know it's the responsible thing for me to do. But it wasn't easy at the beginning. But the more I did it, just like David Goggins, like reading his book can't hurt me for anybody who hasn't read it. It just, and watching what he purposely put himself through over and over and over and over again. And he said the same thing every time. Yeah, it sucked. It hurt. It was painful. But on the other side of that, that's when I realized nobody can mess with me. Nobody, his little term he says all the time is stay hard. And I'm like, damn, I want to be like that. I want to be like that when Nobody can get to me. What they say, what they do, physically, what happens to me, I am not there. I am not even close. Like I'm gonna fall apart when I got some pain and I can't do what I want to do. Okay, I'm not there. But following him and seeing how he's done the responsible thing for him, which is push himself and push himself and push himself to get to where he is, like that's inspiring. I'm sorry, I'm going in today.
Yeah, and I love what you said about doing the responsible thing and going through the hard thing then makes the next thing that's the responsible thing and the hard thing easier and easier and easier, and even leveling up, like you said, and you have to even make it even more. And look, I think too much is given, much is expected out of you. Same thing, like when you start taking on this onus of being responsible and doing the right thing, doing the responsible thing, I think bigger things are expected of you. Like you've done a lot of work on yourself for 3.5, almost into 4 years now. And the Brittany today, here in the very last episode of 2021, is a far different creature than you were in 2018 when all this kind of fell in your lap and you started from scratch.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. That doing the responsible thing was like, all right, I've seen what people look like. I see where their lives go when they don't tackle their shit. And so, almost 4 years ago, I made the decision. It's time to tackle my shit. Okay. I'm not going to sit here in this trauma anymore. I'm not going to let it overtake me. I'm going to do the responsible thing, which was unbelievably hard then. And it's still hard. It just, because I think personal development is something that never really ends. There's always something that can be better. And so even if you take a break and a pause, there's always something to go back in on. And so it's been a beautiful journey for me to look back and go, wow. And so I think that's why now those things become easier and easier and easier. Doing the responsible thing becomes easier because I've been on the other side of what making that decision looks like. And so I know personally that even if I have to cry about it and be upset about it for a second, I know in a little bit it's going to feel amazing.
Well, and just in the time that we've been friends, which is just over 2.5 years, I have seen you blossom from where you were. And it's because you were willing to take on the hard things that were the responsible thing. And yeah, you might have kicked and screamed a little bit along the way, as have you seen me do the same thing. Taking responsibility is not really an option. You have to do it if you want to progress in your life. All the things we talk about here about personal development and going one step deeper in your life cannot happen until you take responsibility and do the things and be willing to go hard. Like when we are writing our book right now, we're talking to you, and when we don't mince words by design, we want you to feel that pressure of you need to do the right thing and take responsibility, and it's going to be hard. Side of it, like we've been talking about, it's going to be so worth it.
Right. And listen, you gave me a little bit of praise, which I'm not good with. I don't give praise, not because I don't love it, not because I don't love the people, but it's a difficult thing for me. But I'm gonna step out my comfort zone. I'm gonna do it. I just want to say, same to you, Jimmy. Like when we first became friends and we started talking, like we both were just in such different places,
Yeah.
and I've watched you take responsibility. I've watched you make unbelievably difficult decisions that in the end, some may say that hurt you, but I know that the decisions that you've made has made you a better person and has got you so much further in life. And it's not even in this moment that you're reaping benefits from those decisions. It's to come. It's to come of all the benefits that you're going to reap from making that responsible decision. It didn't make sense to anybody else, but it made sense to you. And like that's a big deal. And so anybody that's listening right now, maybe you're hesitant about making a decision that you feel is the responsible thing to do, but it's really freaking hard. Do it. Do it. It's going to suck. It's going to feel hard. It's not going to be easy, but think about a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. Where are you going to be then?
I am loving that because we're in an instant gratification society where if I do X, I need to see Y like right away. And life isn't that way. Sometimes it's X, which is a down payment on Y, which happens 5 years from now. And you got to be okay with that. But people aren't. People just want that instant gratification. And it's okay, I'm going to do this. I need to see this happen. And we all have examples in our own lives where we do X. Why? Where are you? You know, and we're looking for that to come.
I didn't eat the candy bar today. Why haven't I lost 10 pounds?
Yes.
Yes, that is me. But speaking of candy bars, shameless plug. You guys have seen my new cup, right, from Element. They sent me this. I don't know if you got, did you get yours? No.
I haven't mine yet, no.
Okay, they have a new flavor. I'm so sorry. I have to talk about it, okay? Chocolate. It's mint chocolate. It is phenomenal. But unfortunately, they're not selling it yet. So in the meantime, while you're waiting for this flavor to come out, now, by the time this airs, it probably will be on sale. Yes, but make sure you go. I'm so serious. Go try this product. I don't talk about things unless I love them, but the responsible thing for you to do right now, I'm just kidding. Seriously, go check it out. It's drinkelement.com/Jimmy. Go get you a free sample pack to try all the other flavors. But when this one comes out, do yourself a favor. Sorry I put that in there, but
you spell LMNT instead of element. Yeah.
Thank you. But wow, so good. I threw that one in there, I know, but
Oh, you surprised me, and you love that mug too, that Yeti mug. So
I feel like everybody was seeing it. If you're watching the video, you're seeing it. I needed to talk about it. Okay, I just had to share my experience with you guys.
Yes. So on this topic, maybe people are getting this now. Maybe they're saying, okay, I get it. The responsible thing is going to be a little bit hard. It's not going to be easy, but there's still something within them that holds them back. What's the fear? What are the fears that people have? Is it of messing up? Is it of maybe I chose the wrong thing where other people have defined the responsible? What is it that's keeping people from this?
I mean, there's layers there for sure. Obviously, one of them is fear of rejection.
Yeah.
It's such a human thing, and it's nothing that we should feel bad about. But it's such a human thing for us to avoid rejection, even if that means it costs us ourselves. We will avoid rejection by changing who we are, like in molding ourselves to fit into other people's definitions, just because we want to feel loved. And that kind of, I could refer you guys back to the self-love episode where we're talking about what that equals, and you have to learn to love yourself and not look for that validation outside of yourself. But seriously, people want that. Like, I don't want to feel rejected. There's people in my life that if I ended up getting rejected by them, like, I'm going to be a puddle of a person. I'm not going to be in a good place. And so I fear that. But at the same time, I've become so important to myself. I know it sounds kind of self-righteous, but like, I'm so important to me that I must honor my boundaries. I must do the responsible thing for me, even if that means it costs me time with the people that I love, or it cost something to do the responsible thing.
And the responsible thing, you will lose if you do it. You will lose friends. You will lose contacts. Like you and me both have plenty of examples of where doing the right thing did not serve us in that area. But in a way it did. It got rid of some dead weight in our lives. I got to see very crystal clear who my real friends were. When I did the responsible thing in my own life, in a decision that I made, I lost a bunch of friends. And it is what it is. Like I look back on it now and I go, you know what? That was beneficial. Even though it hurt at the time, even though it was not easy at the time, I now can look back and kind of go, wow, those people were never my friends anyway, if they would up and leave me over a decision that I made that was the right thing, the responsible thing to do. And like in hindsight, I can look back and go, it was the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, but it was the best damn thing I've ever done in my life.
The people who are offended by someone doing the responsible thing have likely never done the responsible thing in their life. I mean, that's just the hard truth of it, that I know what it's like to make those difficult decisions that don't look right to anybody else. When Wyman and I moved to this house, nobody knew. Nobody knew our finances. Nobody knew. But from the outside looking in, We lived in a single wide trailer in the middle of nowhere.